I first realized something was wrong the moment I tried to send my RSVP. It was early December, the house already heavy with pine boughs and tinsel, and I'd drawn my favorite red sweater from the closet, soft cashmere, elbow patches, perfect for my family's annual Christmas soiree. My brother Michael had sent the invite 2 weeks earlier, Harper Family Christmas Party, December 24th, 6 p.m. at Mom and Dad's.
We're festive.
I clicked reply, typed can't wait, see you then, and hit send. An hour later, my cell buzzed again. I expected a cheerful, great, or maybe a snowflake emoji. Instead, the subject line read simply, Christmas party. I opened it, saw my mother's name, and froze. Mom, please don't come this year. We love you, but we need a break. Love, Mom and Dad. No explanation, no we'll miss you. Nothing. Below was a thread of sibling replies. Michael, 2 exclamation points. No hard feelings, bro. We'll catch up after the holidays. My sister Beth chimed in. Christmas is family only this year, Steve. I stared at the screen, the cozy sweater slipping from my hands. We need a break? What did that even mean? But I knew. My impromptu family roast last July had gone viral. A 5-minute stand-up bit at my cousin's barbecue, poking fun at Dad's karaoke, Mom's Pinterest addiction, Michael's dating failures, even Beth's avocado toast obsession, and somehow my cousin's girlfriend had uploaded it to TikTok. Overnight, it had exploded. Cringe family comedian makes brutal roast, and this guy's cousins want to disown him. Over 2 million views, half the comments accusing me of being a jerk, the other half laughing at every punchline. At first, I'd laughed along, hey, comedy is comedy, but then the calls started. My grandmother, crying. My uncle, very disappointed. My best friend texting, dude, they're serious. And now we need a break. I sank onto my couch, heart pounding, the festive sweater untouched. The Christmas tree twinkled in the corner, half decorated, sterile. I hadn't even bought the turkey yet. Over the next 2 days, I drove my compact crankily around town, toolbox in the trunk. I repaired my neighbor's mailbox post, reattached loose gutter at the dentist's office, lent a hand at the coffee shop when their barista called in sick, even mowed the lawn of an elderly couple who couldn't bend over. I refused payment. I needed to feel useful, to remind myself I wasn't the villain my family painted me to be. Yet with every thanks, Steve, I felt the broken edges of my own loneliness press, and I'd gone from center stage roast to unwelcome outcast. Memories swirled, stringing lights around the patio, Mom's eggnog recipe, Dad's off-key Christmas carols. Excluded felt like betrayal. By the time December 23rd rolled around, I'd made enough goodwill to pad my self-esteem, but not enough to earn an invitation back. I sat in my living room at 10 p.m., a pot of chili on the stove, It's a Wonderful Life playing softly. I stared at the door, chest hollow, wondering if I should sneak in, pretend to be an ornament. Then a thought struck. If they wouldn't let me share their night, I'd claim the night of my own. They'd thrown me out of the Harper Christmas. I'd build a Christmas party so unforgettable they'd regret leaving me behind. I started with the venue, the community center 2 blocks from my apartment, a brick building usually dark and silent. I drove by and noticed a lock on the front door, but the senior center coordinator, Mrs. Demetrio, kept a key in her purse. I called her, feigning concern. I'm teaching kids theater tomorrow. Can we use the hall for rehearsal? She said yes, at 6 p.m. only. Perfect. Next, catering. I contacted Rita's Kitchen, the local soul food spot my family adored, and negotiated a sweet deal: turkey, glazed ham, mashed potatoes, green beans with bacon, and pecan pie for 15 people, just enough to feel intimate. Paid in full with my credit card, with instructions no special remarks, deliver at 5 p.m. and leave quietly. Then I booked music. My college friend Jamal had a year-old blues jazz quartet that needed a holiday gig. I emailed them, December 24th, 7:10 p.m., Community Center, $500 flat. They said yes. I'd heard them at open mic. They were phenomenal. Next, decorations. I hit the dollar store, bell garlands, twinkle lights, fake snow, but upgraded at Target with a classy flocked Christmas tree and white orchids for the centerpieces. I'd flown solo through every aisle, humming Jingle Bell Rock, cafe latte in hand, feeling stupidly happy with every purchase. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. Are you coming tomorrow? We can still squeeze you in. I hesitated, thumb hovering. Reject them. Hold my party's invite close. Make them sweat. But something softened. I replied, can't make it. Big rehearsal. See you soon. Mary. No reply, so I let it be. That evening, I lit the tree in my living room, bird-shaped ornaments handmade by my daughter's daycare. I stared at them, regretted not being there for her Christmas play. I wished I could undo the roast, the viral moment, the embarrassed look in Grandma's eyes, the cascade of hurt I'd unleashed. But this was the path I'd chosen. I packed my car at dawn, boxes of decorations, folding chairs from my garage, an extension cord, speakers, and the cooler of Rita's food stashed in the back seat. I drove to the community center, got the key from Mrs. Demetrio at 5:15, unlocked the door, and started unloading boxes. Inside, the echo of my footsteps under harsh fluorescent lights made the empty hall feel cavernous. I plugged in strands of twinkle lights along the walls, string by string, tacking garlands over the stage, fluffing the flocked tree with faux snow spritz. I laid down a red carpet runner as an aisle, then set white chairs in rows, 20 chairs in a semicircle facing the stage, inch perfect. I brought in 2 round tables draped in red tablecloths, placed orchids in the center, the smell hinting elegance. The band's gear arrived, Jamal and his trio, hugs all around, spirits high. "Dude," Jamal said, settling his bass, "this is going to be epic." I nodded, hanging a sign above the stage, "Harper Family Christmas, a better reunion." Underneath in smaller letters, "All are welcome." Then the catering arrived, big aluminum trays filled with turkey breast, ham, casseroles. The aroma of sage and brown sugar drifted through the hall. I set up a buffet line, bowls of cranberry sauce, stacked plates, napkins in red plaid. I lit battery-powered candles along the head table. My phone buzzed again. "Beth, are you coming?" I ignored it. Silence. At 6:30, I practiced my entrance, the spotlight on stage, all eyes on me in my favorite cashmere sweater, me welcoming everyone. I'd never been so nervous. At 7 p.m. sharp, the doors opened. A trickle at first, Mrs. Demetrio, wide-eyed, a few neighbors curious about lights, Jamal's cousin with a girlfriend in tow. Then word had spread, social media invites, whisper chain through church bulletins, that flyer I'd posted at the grocery store. People streamed in, single parents seeking warmth, older folks alone for Christmas, newcomers craving community. By 7:15, the chairs were full, 30 strangers smiling, curious. I stepped up on the stage, tapped the mic. "Good evening." I began. My voice echoed, then quieted. "I'm Steve Harper. My family didn't invite me to their Christmas party this year." A murmur rippled through the audience, but I've discovered the real spirit of Christmas is being together, whether born of blood or kindness. So tonight, this stage, this food, these lights, they're ours. Welcome to the Harper Family Christmas. Applause warm, genuine. My heart swelled, tears prickled. I held the mic like a lifeline. Eat, sing, laugh. This night is ours. Jamal's band launched into Silver Bells, slow and soulful. Volunteers guided the buffet line. I spotted a few faces, Mr. Choi from the dry cleaners, nursing a smile next to Mrs. Martinez, her knitting set aside. A young couple, new to town, held hands as they filled plates. Children chased each other between tables, strangers becoming friends. I stepped down, joined the line, found my place at the end. Under the warm yellow hall lights, the trays gleamed, turkey, ham, dressing. I scooped a serving, wiped my hands, and felt the weight lift, my heart full, grief melting in gravy. I passed a plate to a little boy with anxious mother. "Here you go, bud." He grinned, mouth full. "Thank you." We ate at long tables, silver plastic forks clinking, laughter bubbling. After dinner, Jamal invited carolers to the stage. I wandered through the crowd, collected names, Mrs. Dunbar, Mr. Liu, the Johnson family. I danced with grandmothers who hadn't left home in years, swayed with teenagers trying to hide their awkwardness. At 8:30, I climbed back on stage. Anyone who wants to share a story, favorite Christmas memory, or holiday wish, come on up. Hands shot into the air. An elderly man told of caroling as a boy in snow. A single mother spoke of her daughter's first Christmas. A teenager played Jingle Bell Rock on her ukulele. With each story, the room glowed brighter than any norm outside. Then, at 9:15, Michael and Beth slipped in the back doors, tentative, sheepish. They froze, scanning the packed hall. Mom and Dad followed, dismayed. I watched them, heart fluttering. This was my moment. I tapped the mic. "Welcome, Harper family. I'm glad you could make it." The crowd clapped. Michael's jaw dropped. His fiancée looked from him to me, curious. Mom's lips quivered. I smiled wide. "You can take a seat anywhere. Everyone's family here tonight." I gestured at the empty seat beside me on stage, reserved with my old name tag. Here's a seat with your name on it. Confusion, then relief. They sank in as the hall erupted in applause, neighbors cheering, friends catcalling, strangers celebrating. I felt no triumph, only warmth. I led the band into silent night and candles lit themselves across the tables, battery taps in each votive. The room glowed, voices rose in harmony, and for a moment, I understood the magic of Christmas wasn't perfect decor or curated roasts. It was inclusion, transformation, community conjured from goodwill and a little mischief. The night rolled on, dance floor boomed with blues, table talk spun into new friendships. Even my parents found their place at a table of neighbors. And me, I plugged into the circle, not as comedian turned outcast, but as host of a Christmas they could never banish. Outside, the snow began to fall in soft feathers. Through the frosted windows, the world looked still and serene. Inside, laughter and carols and the warmth of a chosen family filled the air. And I knew that, for once, I'd owned the night, not with jokes at someone's expense, but with a heart wide open, letting strangers become kin and turning exile into celebration. As the church clock chimed midnight, I raised a glass of eggnog. My solo party turned communal feast. Merry Christmas, I called, voice echoing in the rafters. To all a good night. The cheers that followed felt like redemption. In that moment, I realized that being banned by blood doesn't define you. Owning your space and inviting others in does. No roast, no viral humiliation could ever compare to the warmth we created under those twinkling lights. And that, dear reader, is how I turned my exclusion into a Christmas miracle. The flicker of cinnamon-scented candles on the tables cast dancing shadows across happy faces as the echoes of silent night faded into soft chatter. At the head of the community hall, I perched on the edge of the stage, still wearing my favorite red sweater, the one my family had effectively banned, and watched the room pulse with warmth. My parents sat at a table near the buffet, speaking quietly with their neighbors, faces unclenched for the first time since I'd arrived. Michael hovered near the punch bowl, eyeing me with tentative pride, and Beth laughed at something Claire was showing her on a phone screen. I took a deep breath and let myself soak it in. This was the night I owned, no re-owned, Christmas. A few minutes later, Mrs. Dunbar, the sweet widow who lived 2 doors down, tugged at my sleeve. "Young man," she said, voice trembling with gratitude, "I'm so glad you did this. My children are scattered across the country. This is the best gift I've had in years." I smiled and squeezed her hand. "Thank you for coming, Mrs. Dunbar. Merry Christmas." She beamed. "Merry Christmas, dear." By 12:30 a.m., the last notes of the jazz quartet's unplugged Winter Wonderland faded and the hall grew quiet, except for the low hum of conversation and the occasional tinkle of chairs being folded. I walked the perimeter, unplugging strands of lights, gathering ornaments that hadn't blown away, and helping the quartet load their instruments. Outside, snowflakes drifted past the frosted windows, pattering against the glass like soft applause. As I rolled up the last extension cord, I saw Jen approaching, walking slowly, shoulders squared, carrying 2 paper cups of lukewarm coffee. She stopped a few feet from me and held out a cup. "Here," she said, "you probably need this." I took the cup, dark, bitter in my palm, and nodded. "Thanks." She waited, words caught somewhere between regret and relief. Finally, she said, "I'm really sorry about what happened. It got out of hand. I never meant to hurt you." I sipped my coffee, letting the bitterness wash over me. "I know." She closed the distance, exhaled. "I was trying to prove I could have a good time without you roasting us. But I went too far." Her voice cracked. "You were right, family isn't a joke." I met her gaze. The embers of hurt still glowed inside me, but they were softening. "Family is everything," I said. "I'd forgotten how good that feels." She nodded, tears glinting. "Can I have a hug?" I set down the coffee and wrapped her in a warm embrace, her sweater scratchy against my cheek, her arms tight around me. When we broke apart, she smiled weakly. "Thank you for tonight," I shrugged. It was my gift to everyone. Mom and Dad appeared then, Mom with her purple cashmere scarf, Dad in his favorite holiday tie, and they walked us all to the stage, beckoning my siblings. They stood together, 4 of us in a row, under the glow of the empty Christmas tree. Dad tapped the mic. "We just want to say, thank you, Steve," he began, voice wavering, "for reminding us what Christmas is really about." He gestured at the crowd of strangers turned family, for showing us how to open our doors when we wanted to close them. Mom added, voice thick, "We're so proud of you. You saved our Christmas." Michael and Beth moved in, hugging me on either side, until we were a cluster of shared warmth. The crowd erupted in applause, neighbors cheering, friends calling out, even Jamal tapping a gentle beat on his guitar case. I felt the rush of gratitude, tears pricking. "Thank you," I said into the mic. "Thank you all for coming, for believing in second chances, for making this night more than any party my family threw. Merry Christmas to each of you, and to all a good night." We let the crowd meander out first, guiding them through the entryway, with leftover cupcakes, travel mugs full of cocoa, and gift bags with peppermint bark. I hugged Mrs. Martinez, fist-bumped the teenager with the ukulele, and gave Mr. Choi an extra slice of pie. By 2 a.m., the hall was nearly empty, just the staff, the quartet packing up their last crate, and us 4 siblings, standing in the dim glow. Beth yawned. "I can't believe I nearly missed this." Michael rubbed his eyes. "I thought you were going to get your heart broken tonight." I laughed softly. "No one's heart is broken, not if you remember what family really is." Sarah, who'd been quietly helpful all evening, piped up. "You should make this our new tradition, Harper Family Christmas of Kindness." I considered it. I like that. But next year, I think I want the family party too. And maybe we pick a charity, invite both neighbors and Harper kin, a joint celebration. They all nodded vigorously. "Yes," said Claire, "we owe you that." Jen grinned. "Deal. And I'll plan the party this time with all of us." I looked around the empty hall, the faint scent of pine still lingering. "Let's go home," I said. "We've got a lot to talk about, and plenty of baking left to do." Back at the cabin of my own apartment building, the one I actually lived in, I collapsed on the couch with my siblings and a plate of leftover cheesecake. The twinkling tree lights danced over our faces as we recounted the night's highlights, the chili line, the carolers, the moment Dad took the mic. Laughter wove between us like a familiar melody. At midnight, we finally turned out the lights. The quiet of our living room held zero echoes of exclusion, only the soft glow of colored bulbs and the contented sighs of 4 people who'd rediscovered each other. I stared at the tree, the little ornaments my daughter had made, remembered every time I'd felt the weight of her absence in my life. And in that moment, I resolved to never let my family forget that they belonged to me as much as I belonged to them. Because sometimes the best way to save Christmas is to find it in the hearts of strangers, and then bring it home. As I drifted off to sleep, the last thought on my mind was a simple promise. Next year, we'd hang the ornaments together, cook the turkey together, laugh at my silly jokes, and never again banish the spark that made us a family in the first place. Merry Christmas, indeed.